Welcome to Fat Bastard Garage. I'm Big Keg, and today we're going to go through the cars that I've had in my lifetime. I will just say that most of these cars I do not have pictures of, so they're Google images. First vehicle I owned was a 1959 FC Holden station wagon, column shift, 3-speed, and it was made exactly the same month and year as me. Next was this Bedford van. This was the party van. It was nothing unusual for people to crash in the back of this after a very heavy, hard night. Weekends would come, I'd throw the motorbike in the back and go out camping and spend the weekend away just riding, fishing, doing whatever. It was great. This is a Honda 360cc key truck. Mine was decked out as a cargo van, and I used to sleep in it when I went out fishing. And here's a couple of pictures of me. There you go. Yes, I did have hair once, and some of my mates out fishing, and it was a great little vehicle. My 1964 E.H. Holden wagon. This was the first vehicle that I actually ever did any work to. It was painted maroon with the white top, lowered. It also had flared guards and black crushed velvet curtains. I spent a lot of time and money on this car. And I loved it, I really did. It had a bigger engine in it, a 192. They originally came out with a 179 cubic inch, and I put a 186 cubic inch board out to a 192. It also had a very lumpy cam in it, and a 2.5 inch exhaust, and it sounded sweet. It had wheels and tyres very similar to these, except it didn't have white walls. And eventually it sort of looked like this. Not quite, but very similar. While I was working on the wagon, I drove around in a Fiat 125. Great little zippy car, and I like Fiat so much that I went and bought a 131. And that car was absolutely awesome. I really did love it. 1965 XP Falcon wagon, 170 Pursuit. My dad had this car and I had to go out and buy one exactly the same, just for memory's sake. And while I was doing that car up, I had a little Toyota Corolla, which nowadays are actually a nifty little car to own if you can get one. A 68 or 69 HT Holden Ute, a work vehicle, and then this Dodge. Now, it was called a Dodge, but mine was a Valiant Sports Pack. It had a 265 Hemi straight 6, Sports Pack wheels, lovely pinstriping, and this exact colour. It also had a 4-speed on the floor from factory. This is quite a rare car nowadays, if you could find one. Toyota Hilux Ute, again a work vehicle. And all the times that I had all of these utes, I also had this, which was a VC Commodore wagon. Yeah, I don't like wagons, do I? This was basically the wife's car, or the family car. But I did do some upgrades to it with different wheels and a little bit of tweaking on the motor. And then I got rid of the utes and bought a Land Cruiser, a short wheelbase Land Cruiser, similar to these. Built a trailer and used to go out and cut our own wood. But these we used to go everywhere in these little Land Cruiser, and again now, very hard vehicle to find very rare. Here we have the worst car I have ever bought. A Mitsubishi Magna, front wheel drive. I just did not like the car at all. Nowadays, a rare vehicle to have. Then, while doing up another project, I got a little buzz box, a Mazda 323, which I drove around while doing this up. A 79 Ford wagon, which looked very, very similar to this vehicle. And this is sort of what it looked like before I started, but it was a car that I loved. A Series 2A Land Rover, short wheelbase. Man, I took this thing everywhere, and mostly it was fishing. There's an actual picture of mine with one of my mates up fishing in the lakes. I really, really liked this vehicle. It would go anywhere, and I mean anywhere. And because of my love of Land Rovers, I bought a Range Rover, 2-door, 1979. Great vehicle. Whilst I had that, I had this another Toyota Corolla. It's not a wagon. Another great little vehicle that I owned. Holden Rodeo dual cab ute. A work vehicle, nothing special. But yeah, it was okay. But while I had that, I was doing up this VW Passat. This was actual barn find that I tinkered with and got back on the road. It wasn't anything special, but yeah, not something you see every day. I then decided to explore the east coast of Australia in this 2000 Nissan Patrol. It was a 3-litre turbo diesel, and it was totally decked out in the back for me to be able to live in. Cooker, sleeping, the lot. I ended up taking a job in northern Queensland and was given a company car. Therefore I didn't need the Patrol anymore and bought an EL Falcon Fairmont. I had this car for a fair few years and it served me really well. I also bought the same variation in a ute. I'm not really sure why. I think the main reason why, it was cheap. And you can't beat cheap. Then came a succession of wagons. Wagons and a little Ford hatch in the meantime. But mostly wagons, because at the time I was doing up this Mitsubishi van into a camper. Unfortunately, I blew up the motor in this, and this was the hardest thing I've ever worked on in all my life, and never again. Didn't like it. Another Commodore wagon, VS, 98 Toyota Corolla Camry. This car started this channel. The work I was doing on it, I decided to put on YouTube. So therefore, Fat Bastard Garage and Big Keg started from this car. My $100 Commodore wagon. Used it for 6 months and sold it for $200. And finally, Nora, my 2001 Volkswagen Bora. Was never a fan of Volkswagens until I bought this, and now I'm a huge fan. I love this little car. Alright folks, that's about all for now. Hooroo!